Everybody, and welcome to Tuesday Training. I hope you're having a fantastic week. As always,
we are live from Austin, Texas, right here at Insurance Syndicate headquarters. And man, we have a great show for you.
Good morning and happy Tuesday. Hope you guys are doing fantastic, man. Guess what? Playtime is over. Vacation time is over. It is countdown to AEP. We are 1 month away from go time. If you were in the Medicare space, it is crunch time now, right? We are down to the final, basically 30 days to get ready for October 1st. And that's what we're going to talk about today, man. A little AEP prep up from the neck up on what you need to do to kind of get yourself ready to go. I have been enjoying the last month doing some traveling, doing a lot of work on my house and kind of working a little, but, enjoying the month and getting a lot of my own personal affairs in order the way I like, and also getting some vacation time in. But party time, vacation time, all that is over. It is go time, and we're going to be talking about that. So I'm going to dive into a bunch of stuff. As always, this show is brought to you by DFY CRM, the CRM that is done for you, man. DFY 2.0 is out there. A lot of upgrades in it that you should be accessing and using. We are certainly make good use of them ourselves. And we have some additional items that we're going to be rolling out. I don't want to talk about it too much, but Go Ovula over here, we're going to be building out some snapshots of our own inside of DFY, hopefully to be ready for production on 10/1, maybe a little sooner. If you're a DFY user, I very well may be persuaded to make them available to you. So hit me up if you'd like to learn. They're going to be Medicare centric. I will tell you they will include bilingual options from English and Spanish, and likely include things like the entire Medicare journey that you can utilize with scripts and everything to help you attract T65s, new business, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So look out for that. I'll definitely roll it out and show it to you guys. And if it's something that you want available, me and Eric will chat about that and see what we can do to make that happen for you. But again, today, man, I'm going to dive into AEP prep, right? This is the basically 7 things I would say are the categories that you should be focused on this month, if not already a little sooner, to get yourself ready for October 1st. Not only to maximize your ability to retain the business you've already built, but also, hey, let's get some new people too. So we're going to go through a few of those things. The first one is obviously certifications. I mean, hopefully you've gotten your certifications done. Hopefully you're proactive about it. That way you're not spending September just doing certifications, that you can use September on some of these other items in my list to really, really help you. I will say this has probably been my slowest year for certifications. I'm still not quite done. I got all my major ones done, the most important ones, but there's a few stragglers I still got to bang out myself for our group. Nothing too major there. I'll probably have them done by the end of this week at the latest. But ultimately, September should be the time that you are looking at the different carrier rollouts, the different marketing plans, retention outreach, all of these things that I'm going to go through. It shouldn't be the time that you're spending just doing certifications for the whole month. So if you're behind on them, get going, man. Because you already know that you have AHIP certifications, or maybe NABIP if you prefer that route. NABIP still isn't accepted by all of them. So depending on the carriers you're working with, you might be making a choice there between doing AHIP or doing NABIP. By the way, if you haven't completed your AHIP yet and you're looking for a discount on it, I have a non-affiliated discount, not affiliated in any carrier, not necessarily affiliated in the FMO where you're required to have your contracts. But it will get you $50 off on your AHIP, save you $50. So it's only $125. So obviously you got that major certification first, and then you have your different carrier certifications you got to run through. When you're going through those, prioritize the carriers, number one, that are the most important to you, the ones where you have the most business, Or another way to look at it, prioritize some of the carriers that you know tend to have the longest certifications, right? Some of them, like Humana or like United Healthcare, have kind of a fast track. If you're an already RTS agent with them and you're recertifying for a consecutive year, a lot of times you can get those done a little quicker. So maybe prioritize those, get them banged out super fast so that you can spend a little more time diving into the lengthier ones. However you want to work that out, make that priority and get them done. And then the other thing you should spend your time doing that's kind of under that category that I put of certification prep is just Medicare changes. What is changing in Medicare for 2026 in general? And I'm going to talk about that real quick with you. I've got a little article here that we're going to run through from Investopedia, and then we'll dive into the rest of the goodies. Let me get this on screen for you. We will go through 10 big Medicare changes in 2026. So again, this is an article by Investopedia. It's pretty much spot on, though. Was released right at the end of this month on the 28th. I'll also make sure it's in the group for you so you can check it out. A lot of this stuff, if you're an informed Medicare agent, you already know. But I'm going to run through them real quick, and then we'll get into the rest of my AEP prep from the neck up checklist. And if you got any questions on stuff, man, drop them in the chat. If you got any ideas, drop them in the chat. Happy to talk about them. But as we already know, Medicare changes every year. So what are the 10 big changes that are happening this year? Well, number one, right at the top, people are going to pay more for Medicare, right? The cost is going up. Medicare Part B is projected to rise 11.6%, which will make it $206.50. So it is going to get higher. What they don't include, they do also include the Part B deductible down here, likely to go from $257 to $288, a 12% rise. And then we are going to see also, which we already know for fact, the Part D, as in dog, the drug deductible, going up from $590 to $615. A couple of other things. The base beneficiary premiums for Part D expected to go from $36 to $38.99. Not an enormous change there, but that is still another escalation. So hopefully you are preparing your clients, because these are definitely things you can talk about now. You should be putting out a newsletter, putting out a blog, putting out an email, something to talk to your current client base, even new ones, about these changes and let them know, hey, the cost of Medicare, the general cost of Medicare is going to go up. Come work with me. Let me help you find ways that these costs won't be as negatively impacted for you, as an example, right? So costs are going up. Here's a little chart here that they put together that goes over it a little more, right? Part B premium expected to go from $185 to $206.50. Again, that's one of the largest jumps we've seen. Part D base beneficiary premium going up to probably $38.99. And again, some of these are projected costs. These aren't finalized. As you should remember from previous years, we usually don't get the final Medicare cost for things like Part A deductible, Part B premium, Part B deductible until we get to somewhere close to October, usually, right? I would be surprised if we get them earlier, but they are going, like, the one thing we do know is they're going to go up, right? One of the other things that is going up is the catastrophic threshold, which is right here in number 2. As you probably remember, Part D drugs have a catastrophic threshold of $2,000 this year. It's going up to $2,100 next year. Not a huge difference, but a difference nonetheless. And a lot of the drug plans, some of the drug plan premiums have gone up. Not all of them have, right? Some of the drug plan premiums out there are still super affordable. Unfortunately, those are usually the plans that probably aren't paying you commissions. They're not paying much, but they can still work in your favor when you're doing the right thing for your client. And just kind of on that topic for Part D, we have made a little bit of a conscious choice here to just make an assumption in our mind that all Part D plans are non-commissionable. We're just going to assume that they're all non-commissionable. Any Part D plans we write where we get commission is just a bonus, but we're just going to assume that all Part D plans are non-commissionable. And with that, we're taking it a step further, that we have decided that we will not service Part D plans unless you have your Medicare supplement with us. Some people might say, hey, that's a little short-sighted, because if you're willing to do the Part D plans, maybe you can find some areas to cross-market stuff to them. Maybe you can find an area to cross-market a hospital indemnity or a cancer plan, or maybe you can, steal their Medicare supplement and get it back to you. that would be the primary thing. Like if I'm talking to someone that has Part D and a MedSup somewhere else, and they want to shop me to help them with their Part D plan, I'm going to come after them for their MedSup. And if I can't get it, then I'm just going to show them how they can easily get a Part D plan on their own without an agent. I also see some conflict with that because I'm training people to not use agents, which you could easily say is an effort to put myself out of business. I don't think it goes that far, but those are some of the things that we've had to think about when we have a large book. We're fortunate that we don't have a grotesquely large book of PDP clients. There are other agents, agencies, and groups out there that have massive PDP books. I feel for them and the challenges they are going through on how can they maintain profitability with 5,000, 10,000, 20,000 PDPs on their books and trying to figure out how to navigate that. We're fortunate that our market that we serve tends to want and kind of falls into the Medicare Advantage pool. So we don't have as many people in our book of business here at Avila that are MedSup and drug plan clients. And I don't think we have anybody in our book that just has their PDP with us. So we're already kind of set up to follow that game plan, and we're going to stick to it. Pretty simple. But understand that, again, the $21 or the threshold is going up to $2,100 next year. The Medicare prescription payment plan, auto enrollment. For people that already have it, they're just going to get carried over, right? So if they're in the 2025 payment plan, it will automatically carry over for them in 2026. Nothing that they really need to do on that. Just understand that, hey, number one, my threshold's going up to 2,100. I still have access to my 12-month prescription payment program, and it will auto re-enroll me in that for the next year. Medicare Advantage plans are going to have fewer supplemental benefits. We already know this. I've been talking about it for a while, that they really want to nail down on supplemental benefits because they're tired of carriers using them as bait to get enrollments, right? So they want to make sure that those supplemental benefits have high utilization, but also work towards improving health outcomes. So you're not going to see a lot of frivolities, as I would say, in supplemental benefits. So you're going to see that peel back. Not to mention that because of the guardrails, but also the downward pressure that a lot of these Medicare Advantage carriers have on them now because of the Inflation Reduction Act, because of some of the different changes, the added reporting that they have to do back to Medicare, et cetera. They're not as profitable, right? So not only have we seen plan exits because of that, and I'm going to talk about that some more here in a minute, but, we're seeing commissions get pulled on plans. Those are plans that are getting prepared to exit, but that's going to, again, part of the reduction that we'll see in supplemental benefits. So your plans probably not going to look as attractive when it comes to the extra sizzle that they put on them. Moving along, number 5, you might face prior authorization requirements under original Medicare. I talked about this last week, but 6 states, Arizona, New Jersey, Ohio, Oklahoma, Texas, and Washington, will be piloting a new test program for prior authorization on certain services under original Medicare. And certainly those same services are going to have PA on the MAPD side, but they're now also going to have them on original Medicare Parts A and B. Most of that includes different nerve stimulation. But it says right here, these services include, but are not limited to, skin and tissue substitutes, electrical nerve stimulation, right? Knee arthroscopy for knee osteoarthritis, and they exclude inpatient and emergency services, of course. So you're going to see some people dealing with some prior authorization if you're in one of those 6 states. Certainly, Texas is our home state. We do a lot of business in New Jersey. We do a lot of business in Arizona. We even do some in Ohio, Oklahoma, Washington. So all 6 of those states we play in. So we will likely see some of this for some people, and we'll hopefully be able to work through that process with them very easily when it comes up. I haven't taken time to look at the penetration, if you will, on how often these types of services are happening, but they are some of the more costly services for Medicare. So they want to put PA on them to make sure, hey, is it really medically necessary that this guy needs this type of nerve stimulation or whatever it might be, right? So kind of look for that. Moving along, number 6, This is a good one. The 10 negotiated drug prices should fall because that starts this year. We don't know what the prices exactly will be yet, but those negotiated prices will take effect. I know there's been some publication on some of these prices. Some of them looked like they were going to come out really good. Some of them looked like it was a pretty modest, like really modest savings, like 1 or 2%. And some of them quite a bit. So look for some of these. These are some big drugs: Eliquis, Enbrel, Entresto, Farxiga, right? I was actually just talking with an agent that I work with. He has a client that takes Farxiga. And we're able to find a plan that covers it, but damn, it's still pricey, right? It still hammers him during deductible time and going through. Thankfully, he's going to hit the catastrophic limit as well. But because of some of those drug prices, a lot of people are slamming those limits a little quicker. But again, all these drugs are expected to drop in price, which means that co-payments should drop, which means that more people can save a little money if they're taking those drugs. So keep that in mind. Moving along, number 7, insulin costs might even drop a little more because they changed it just a little bit, not much, right? We're still basically probably looking at $35, but if the maximum fair price, or 25%, I should say, of the maximum fair price or the negotiated drug price is less than 35, they'll get that price. So as an example, if we go back up here, we'll see that Novolog, Novolog is one of the drugs on here. So if for some reason the negotiated price of Novolog at 25% of it is less than $35, they'll pay less. If it's not, they'll pay $35. But again, still the most they'll ever pay for insulin, 35, but they could see some reductions there. Free vaccines. You're still eligible for free vaccines, but they might be harder to come by. It says that in 2023, IRA eliminated deductibles, copays, and coinsurance for all adult vaccines recommended by the Advisory Committee for Immunization Practices, ACIP. That rule will stay in effect. However, there is uncertainty as to whether the current list, which includes COVID-19, RSV, and shingles vaccines, will change. In June, U.S. Secretary of Health and Human Services, RFK Jr., removed all 17 members of ACIP. So in light of the growing vaccine hostility, we could see some shortages, they're saying. That may be a little fear-mongering there, but it's a possibility. Number 9, some dual eligibles will lose access to Medicare and Medicaid. This is probably one of the biggest ones, in my opinion. If you've got a big book of DSNP clients out there, you want to be aware that a lot of them are probably going to lose Medicaid, right? There are definitely cuts coming to Medicaid that are getting pushed back at the federal level, right? That it's going to push more pressure onto the states to pick up that weight. Well, there's a lot of states that can't afford to pick up the weight. So what are they going to do? They're going to have to go back to some of the pre-Biden era measurements or metrics, if you will, on who qualifies for Medicaid. So we may have a bunch of people that lose Medicaid in general, whether it's full Medicaid or a portion of Medicaid. So those people are all going to obviously be needed for some help, right? You're going to have to find a space for them. And I'm going to get more into that as I get back to my list here. Number 10, this one isn't really anything to jump on because we don't know exactly what's going to happen. But there are some Medicare cuts coming in the future, right? They are expecting about $50 billion in Medicare cuts over the next 10 years. That sounds like a lot of money, right? That sounds like a lot of money, and it is a lot of money. Actually, I'm sorry. A total, I misquoted that. They're looking at about $50 billion a year. It's about $536 billion in cuts that they're projecting by 2034, right? So a little over $500 billion in cuts. It's a lot of money. So that's about $50 billion a year, plus or minus, over a 10-year period. How much does Medicare spend? Well, 2024, believe it or not, I wish I had this in front of me right now because I don't. I discovered that Medicare's already cracked $1 trillion in expenses. We've already gone over $1 trillion. We weren't expected to hit $1 trillion until 2030, but we've already surpassed that in 2024. Medicare spent $1 trillion. I do not have that link in front of me. I should have had it ready to say that and back myself up, but I will get it in the group for you. I want to say it's from if I remember correctly, I snagged it from Kaiser Family Foundation. They're pretty strong on that stuff. But yes, $1 trillion. I believe 2023 was 892 billion. So when you look at it in that context, if we're already spending $1 trillion or at least close to $1 trillion a year from Medicare, well, 50 billion isn't really that much. That's a minor cut. And from my understanding, although we don't know for sure yet, from some of the stuff that I've read on this, it's likely going to be Medicare cuts to providers. So we're likely going to see doctors and providers earning less money, whether it be through Medicare, whether it be through Medicare Advantage and some of those reimbursements. We will likely see some cuts in that space. I don't know that they're going to go hard after specific benefits to clients. They very well could, or beneficiaries, I should say. My understanding from some of the stuff I've read is those cuts are aimed at providers, which is not great either, right? We want providers doing well. We want providers to be able to keep up, especially under original Medicare, because if cuts get out of hand in original Medicare, then that just means that there's probably going to be an increase in doctors and providers who drop original Medicare. And maybe they only start taking Medicare Advantage plans that are high rated where they can help get bonus payments through health outcome improvements and so forth. So there you go. Some of that stuff. Beyond that, it goes through some prep for beneficiaries and how they can get prepared for enrollments, right? Basically, big one, seek assistance right here. I love it. Seek assistance, work with the Medicare broker. Boom. So that's where you come in. But those are 10 of the changes that are happening to Medicare. So moving along, getting your AEP prep up from the neck up, right? Category 1, I said, was your certifications and your knowledge. Get your AHIP done. Get your carrier certifications done. Know what's changing in Medicare so you can be prepared and start communicating with your client. Second thing you should be focused on this month are carrier rollouts. I think some of them have already started happening. We have certainly this whole month, there's going to be carrier rollouts all over the place where you can go and get educated on what the product is going to look like in your marketplace, whether it's a virtual one, or maybe you go to one of the local restaurants or places and you meet with the carrier rep and they do a presentation, whatever it might be, right? Under those carrier rollouts, a lot of them will let you pre-order supplies for some of you guys that do see people face-to-face and you might still be writing on paper. Lord, I hope not, but I know you're out there. I know some of you guys are out there that you run in the field, you do your thing, and I'm not saying that's bad. I don't know why you're still not using just a laptop to get it done. But for those of you that do want hard supplies, you want books, maybe you're doing booths or this thing or that, and you need some materials, now's the time to get some of that in order too. Get your early supply orders in so that you're stocked. Some of the other things you're going to learn in carrier rollouts, you may start learning about service area reductions and plan exits, right? You may also start learning about service area expansions. I'll give you an example. We already know that, pardon me, devoted healthcare is expanding, and if I remember correctly, it's 9 new states. I don't know exactly how many counties that includes, but they are expanding in 9 new states. They also have some expansions happening in their current markets with new plans, new counties in those areas that they're adding on. Are you aware of those? Are you aware of areas that you're losing plans and you're having service area reductions where this plan is no longer going to offer in that county? Are you aware of the service area expansions where you're going to have new plans, new products? And the reason I get into that is, well, jumping ahead a little bit, is because that will help you get a lot of your marketing in play as well. But learn some of that. Get a copy of the crosswalk list. There's a massive, depending on who you're aligned with, you should be able to get a copy of the crosswalk list that shows you what plans are being crosswalked to what plans. And then look at that. And how is that going to affect my book or any of the plans that I've been writing? Are they in that crosswalk list? And is the plan that they're getting crosswalked worth a flip? Or is it going to affect my client negatively? Those are a lot of the things that you should be doing in during September to get prepared, so that you can get to those clients. And I'm talking again about your current clients, to make sure that, hey, this is going to happen to you, right? And that brings me to number 3, which is your retention plan to start outreaching, right? Keeping your current client should be pretty much your highest priority. I know there are agents out there that don't really care about working retention. All they do is go after new business. That's their thing. But I mean, in my opinion, your biggest priority as you go into AEP should be maintaining as much of your book of business as you can, hopefully 100% of it, but that's probably a pipe dream, right? Chances are you're going to lose a chunk of it. Your efforts in here is what's going to help you maintain as much of it as possible. But your goal should be, number 1, let me keep my current clients. And number 2, how do we go get some new clients as well, right? So learning these carrier rollouts, learning these service area reductions, service area expansions, plan crosswalks, that is the buildup to help you build your retention plan so that you can say, hey, these are my clients that are going to be affected very negatively from these exits, reductions, expansions, whatever it might be, crosswalks. Let me put them at the top of my list and start marketing them immediately and reaching out to them. Hey, Betty, I wanted to give you a quick holler. Your Aetna plan, and you may already know because those letters start going out pretty soon from the different carriers. You may have already seen the letter from Aetna that says your plan is getting discontinued for next year. I want to go over what your options are, and I want to set up an appointment for you so that we can do some plan reviews. Right? Pretty simple. There's also the DSNP changes that are continuing and growing, right? And that's going to continue. By the time we get to 2027, if I remember correctly, they pretty much want everybody in FIDEs and HIDEs of some sort. So if you have a big DSNP book, as you're going through these carrier rollouts and looking at, again, service area reductions, service area expansions, crosswalks, look at the DSNP side of it. Do you have any integrated plans in your area? The FIDE and the HIDE plans, right? Those are the fully integrated and the hybrid integrated plans. Do you have any available? And do you have a full dual eligible people that those plans would benefit more? And you should absolutely be outreaching to them as fast as possible to get them in that integrated plan. Because if you don't get them in that integrated plan, someone else will. And here's the thing, once they are in that integrated plan, theoretically, that is the best performing plan in the area because it's integrated with Medicaid properly. It's got the integrated Medicaid contract for that region or that state or that market, whatever it might be. So theoretically, it should be the highest performing plan for a full dual person. So once you get them in it, they should be locked up for pretty much life, as long as that plan continues to activate and run at a high level, right? And there's not going to be a whole bunch of DSNP plans out there this year. They're going to be thinner. Next year, they're going to be even thinner. Next year, they're going to be even thinner. So they're working on whittling them down so that there's only some good integrated plans. There are no lookalike DSNP plans. So again, if you have a big book of DSNPs, comb through it. Which ones are your full duals? Segment them out. Do you have a good FIDE or HIDE plan in your area? And can you viably get those people into that plan where it would improve their situation? And if you can, that should be a huge priority for you. Because once you get them locked in the integrated plan, I'm of the opinion that you got them because they can't move once they're in the integrated plan unless there's another integrated plan in your area. So like some markets, they're going to have 2 or 3 integrated plans. Maybe they have a couple of FIDEs and a couple of HIDEs at most. In some markets, they're only going to be one. And if you get them in the one, they're in that one and they can't move, period, until AEP the following year, right? Because your partial duals, they can no longer move every 3 months like they used to be able to, right? So get those people taken care of as well. And then understand some of your options in regards to retention, right? So again, I just kind of talked about from the DSNP level, and I know a lot of you don't want to hear what I'm about to say, but there are going to be a lot of plan exits this year. I talked about it last week, and there's an article that I put in the group. Every year, roughly 1 million seniors lose access to Medicare Advantage plans by no fault of their own through service area exits, service area reductions. Right? Happens every year. This year, it's even worse. We're looking at over 2 million people nationwide, and it wouldn't surprise me if it's higher than that that are losing access to their Medicare Advantage plan involuntarily because of a plan exit service area reduction. If you look at the article I put in the group that I talked about last week, I'm going by memory, but I want to say United Healthcare estimates they're going to lose 600,000 alone. Humana 500,000, Aetna 400,000. I'm already up to 1.5 million. That's only 3 of the biggest carriers. We still have all the other carriers out there that are going to have the same similar problem. So I would tell you that we're probably looking at over 2 million people that are losing that. What are the options? Well, if there's still an MA plan in their area, you can move them to the other MA plans that are worth the flip to them. Alternatively, some of this is going to happen in markets where there are no more plans because it was a rural area and they were enrolled in one of those PPOs that are no longer paying you commissions. And those PPOs, again, I've said this before, I will bet you dollars to donuts that those PPOs that are in those areas where they pulled commissions, you're not going to see them next year. They're sunsetting those plans. That's why they're not paying you commissions. They're not trying to get greedy and get one over on the agent. They're like, holy crap, we're losing major money on this plan. It's not going to be there for us next year. So we're going to end commissions now so that we don't have that, so that we're not affecting that many people with this plan exit. Right? And we can try to improve some of our profitability to correct the situation for the following year. But there will be rural areas where there once was a PPO or a couple of PPOs and there ain't no more. They gone. What are your options with those people? Your main option is pretty much going to be put them GI onto a med sup, which in a lot of cases isn't going to pay you very well, if at all, really. Like a lot of guarantee issue med sup, you might make $25 on the deal. Some of this depends on the state that you live in, right? A state like Colorado, as I remember, is not allowed to reduce commissions for guarantee issue. I think South Carolina might be the same. There are other states that have some similar rules, but like in Texas here, if I use involuntary loss of coverage to GI someone into a med sup, I make $25 on it. I do keep a happy client. And hopefully I can use that to market to them some other stuff. But that is one of your options. You know, if they're healthy enough or if they're in a gap, maybe just put them on a low-cost hospital indemnity plan. Doesn't really help out their Part B cost too much, but it at least gives them some coverage for Part A, right? And they go back to original Medicare. So you're going to have to understand some of your options on what happens when someone involuntarily loses their plan. And it's especially going to be important when there are no more plans in that area because it was such a small service area, right? Moving on, number 4 is marketing to new business. Marketing to new business. And again, I'm going to talk about this from the area of service area reductions and service area expansions, right? Let's say you're a newer agent and you don't really have much of a book, right? Because this will be harder for you guys that are out there that have massive books of business. But for those of you that don't have that much business, what are the service area reductions that you can go after? Are you aware of who's pulling out of certain markets? Or more importantly, the service area expansions? Are you aware of who's expanding into new areas? Have you had a chance to look at that plan from the carrier rollouts? Is it worth your time and effort? Can you create some targeted marketing on that expansion? Can you create some targeted marketing on the service area reduction to go pick up some people? You can definitely do that if you're a guy that does Facebook ads like me, you can absolutely, there are ways to hyper target those areas with a good ad that's compliant, that doesn't talk about benefits, that doesn't even need to get CMS approval. I'm talking using generic information, just learning how to target the area that you're going to. You can absolutely do that type of stuff. It just takes a little research to figure out what is happening in those areas, and then how do I target? Alternatively, you can use a platform like CallSync to do it for you. If you're not familiar with CallSync, check them out. That's an inbound call platform. They're affiliates of ours or friends of ours here in the insurance syndicate. I think we've got a deal that you can get with them. Talk to Mark Sun. He's one of the agents in our group and one of the reps over at CallSync. Talk to Justin Scribner, also a member in the syndicate. You can talk to them about CallSync. They will help you target those areas. You can be like, hey, man, I want to get some inbound calls from these areas where we're having these service area expansions because I really want to pitch these new plans that are out there. I think they're the best options. Can you help me create a call campaign that'll do that? They'll be like, hell yeah, we can. Be smart about your marketing efforts. How can you be a little different from the other agent? Get hyper targeted in some areas where there's some great opportunities, again, through service area reductions, service area expansions, and even plan crosswalks. If you know there's some areas where one that was a very popular plan is getting crosswalked to something that doesn't look that great anymore, might be a great time to get in there and talk and find some people and get some inbound traffic. Number 5, revisit your tech stack in your CRM. Is it where it needs to be? Right. And it's not, I would tell you, like, in my opinion, like AEP is definitely not the best time to be changing your CRM, but we got a month to prepare for it. Are there some additions, some upgrades, some minimal changes that you can make to your tech stack? And here's the 2 questions I would look at when I'm thinking about that. Will it help me retain or gain more business? I don't just want to go grab another little piece of tech stack just because it's a shiny object and it's got some cool bells and whistles. The question I want to ask myself, will it help me truly retain or gain more business? Second good question, will it reduce time spent prospecting and qualifying people? Is there a way that I can use that piece of tech to reduce my time spent prospecting, or to reduce my time qualifying people, or to reduce the time it takes for me to get someone an appointment on my calendar, right? Does it have good automations that I can utilize that will help me streamline those items? And then again, like I said first, will it help me retain or gain more business? If neither one of those questions are yes, that tech piece is probably really not worth your time, right? But look at that. And if you haven't already figured out from some of the things I've been saying in here, a CRM is necessary to be able to parse out some of the information, right? If you don't have a good CRM, how the hell do you know who your DSNP clients are and if they're full dual or partial dual? If you don't have a good CRM, how can you identify your clients that are in service area reduction areas? How can you identify your clients that are in service area expansions where there might be a new exciting product that would be better for them? Right. Number 6, hire some help. Are you at that space where you need help now? When I talk to most agents, and I would say this is true, when you get to around that 1,000 client mark, and maybe even probably closer to about 700, truthfully, it gets hard to manage it all by yourself, right? So hire some help. Maybe consider hiring a W-2. Maybe it's just a seasonal person. You're like, hey, I just need you for the next 3 months. Come in here, help me set appointments, help me do some work, right? So maybe you do a contract temp job. You can go to a temp to hire company. You can run an ad, find you a W-2 that's just looking for some seasonal work. Or even better, just get you a virtual assistant, right? Our Wednesday show is sponsored by Viva VAs. Lily is one of our VAs that we use here. She does a lot of the back office production for all the content that we shoot out through the syndicate. They're an outstanding group. They're also bilingual. So, I mean, if you're looking for VAs, that's a lower cost solution than a W-2, but do the same type of work, right? Get them calling and setting appointments for you. Get them calling and doing welcome calls for you. You'd be amazed at some of the things you can have a VA or even an unlicensed W-2 do for you that is still fully compliant. I mean, truthfully, the only thing they can't do is quote benefits and write business. They can do everything else. Pretty simple. So consider maybe hiring some help and find someone, whether it's, again, a temp person, whether it's a temp W-2 or a temp VA, whatever it might be, get you some help. And then number 7, man, it's go time. It is go time. So you're going to have to learn to work hard. You're going to have to work smart. I said this last week. I said, hey, I'm really sorry, but you're going to have to put in some of your hardest work this AEP because it's likely the most turbulent AEP we've ever had. And it's funny because we've said that same thing for the last couple of years. Like, oh, wow, this is going to be the wildest AEP ever. Well, this is going to be the wildest AEP ever again. Probably even more so because we're having such massive reductions in service areas, in my opinion, as well as just truthfully, the plans are getting uglier and the cost is getting higher. So we're really going to have to work hard to maintain our clients and convince them that they are in the right spot and gain and keep their trust. So work hard, work smart, learn to batch your time. Batch your time. Put your current clients at the priority, right? Put new clients secondarily. and work on batching your time. Again, use some VAs or W-2s to help you. And that brings me to number C on that level of go time is delegate. Learn to delegate things that you don't need to be doing. If you have a big book of business out there, and if you have a small book of business out there, your time should be spent presenting, right? Your time should be spent presenting. So how can you delegate things to get off your plate so that you spend more time talking to beneficiaries that are in a buying mode? And then finally, under that, learn to use automations to also streamline your time, right? What can automations do for you to help you spend more time presenting? I'll give you an example, right? We use the integration between DFY and RetireFlow, right? So when someone clicks on an ad of ours, or when one of our VAs talks to someone through an inbound call, whatever it might be, we have a great automated workflow that kicks them out the appointment calendar, the scope of appointment, the permission to contact. It's kind of double. We already have it on the lead form and everything, but it's included in RetireFlow, so we get a redundancy there on it. And then we capture some of their intake information. And we have a process in place where our VAs back that up. So if we have someone that we know we set an appointment for, right, or they scheduled their own appointment and they got the automation to complete RetireFlow and get all that stuff knocked out for us so that we can jump into it and save our time, we have a catch-all, I guess I should say, that if it doesn't happen in a certain amount of time, our VA gets them back on the phone. It's like, hey, you haven't filled out the intake stuff. We have to get that, or it's going to be really hard for us to help you. So if it's because you can't complete it on your phone for some reason, because 98% of our traffic comes through smartphone, so they'll have that conversation with them. Hey, if you're having trouble completing it from a technical problem, let me just do it for you verbally. I'll walk you through it myself right now. And they'll capture all that data, get it input, and get it sent over. Alternatively, they can just coach them like, hey, we need you to just click the link, take you about 10 minutes, work through that process, and that way we can get all your intake stuff. Learn to use that through automations. Learn to use that through delegation. Again, whether you have some help through a W-2 or a VA, and that will save you time so that, again, you are spending time presenting. Like when you look at your calendar as an agent going through AEP, like it should be presentation, 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 presentation. It shouldn't be, oh, here, I need to spend 4 hours prospecting because I haven't done all this ahead of time. Now, if you're a brand new agent, then yeah, you should be spending a lot of time prospecting, but there are ways around that. You can hire, like I said, CallSync as a great example. They will do all the prospecting for you. All you have to do is turn on the phone and inbound calls are going to start coming, and you can set your different rates. They'll negotiate with you on buffer times. Do you want the raw call? Do you want a 180-second buffer? Different things like that to kind of negotiate your price. You can set a limit on how many calls you want to get, so you can manage it all within a budget, as an example. That's a great way. You're not doing the prospecting. It's prospecting for you, and all you're doing is presenting the whole time. So, I mean, if I were a brand new agent right now and I had zero book or very little book and I'm going into AEP, I would 100%, the first thing I would do is go to these carrier rollouts, find where my really good opportunities are, especially service area expansions. And I would go to a group like CallSync and be like, hey, man, I need your help. I need a call campaign that targets these areas. And then just boom, send them inbound. Let's go. And then I would turn it on, and that's where I would bang out my work through AEP. I'm a telesales agent. If you're not a telesales agent, you might have to look at some other ways. But that is my 7 steps for AEP prep up from the neck up. I hope that helps you guys. I hope it gives you some good information. I didn't see any questions come through, but I do appreciate you guys tuning in. I'll get that 10 Big Medicare Changes article in the group. Y'all can check that out a little closer. And other than that, man, buckle down. You got 1 month to go. It's go time. I will see y'all next Tuesday. Have a great day. Have a great week.